Let's say you have a memory or a belief that's been repeating for years. You know the one. The moment something triggers you, whether it's a word, a feeling, or even a glance from someone, it's like your brain immediately goes to autopilot. You feel that flood of emotion and bam, you're stuck. The gravity of the situation pulls you in, and you can't think straight. This is where most people go wrong. They believe that's who they are. They think, I'm just like this. No, that's just your default trauma response. Your brain rehearsing the same old pattern over and over like a scratched record. And that's fine. But if you keep repeating it, guess what? You'll stay stuck. Here's the thing. The way your brain works is based on neural patterns. When you feel triggered, your brain rushes to those old grooves, like a car on a well-worn track. That's your reaction. But you can interrupt that track. Instead of being dragged into the old shit, you can step back and see it differently. Not when you're in the middle of a meltdown or triggered, but when you're calm, grounded, and in a place of choice. Trance. Yeah. This doesn't have to be a deep hypnotic trance. A simple meditative state will do the job. When you're grounded, you have more control. You can access those old memories without the emotional weight. Different perspectives. Think of it like playing a video game. You've been stuck in first-person view, right? Always seeing it from your own eyes. Always feeling the same emotions. But what if you switched it to a bird's eye view? Or what if you were the person triggering you? Suddenly, the story changes. Reframe the memory. Let's say you've always seen that old trauma as weakness. Maybe you were bullied, rejected, overlooked. That story kept you stuck. But when you shift your perspective, you realise, wait, that wasn't about me. That was about them. They didn't know what the hell they were doing. And I can move past that right now. Now let's talk tactics. This is where the neurolinguistic programming and Ericksonian hypnosis comes in. Chunk down to the details. Break it apart. What exactly triggered you? What about it made you feel small or inferior? Focus on the tiny details, the tone of voice, the time of day, your physical response. Why did your brain respond that way? Break it apart. The more specific you get, the easier it is to see it's just an old pattern. It's not the truth. Chunk up, see the bigger picture. Step back and ask yourself, what's the big picture? What does this all mean? What's this trying to teach me? Am I really a failure? Or is this just me acting out of trauma? Elicitation. Dig deep. What does this memory or belief give you? Safety, comfort, familiarity. Ask yourself, what's the payoff here? How is this serving me? That's the key. When you understand how your limiting belief is trying to protect you, you can then find a better, healthier way to meet that need. Interrupting the pattern. This is the part where you break free. You interrupt the pattern by doing something different. Something you've never done before. You stop the train in its tracks. For instance, if your automatic reaction is to shut down in a confrontation, do the opposite. Stand tall, stay calm, and breathe. Act like a totally different version of yourself. This small shift can change everything. The science behind this. Neuroplasticity. Your brain is like Play-Doh. It's always changing. The more you interrupt the old pattern, the more you carve out new, healthier ones. These new grooves become easier to travel. Eventually, the old automatic reaction becomes weaker, and your new, healthier responses take over. The law of repetition. The more you repeat a new behaviour, the more it becomes the default. The brain loves habits, so when you take the time to interrupt that old loop and consciously choose a new response, you're training your brain to get comfortable with that. Over time, it just happens on autopilot. No thinking required. Emotional regulation. The emotional gravity of your trauma gets weaker every time you don't react to it. It's like diffusing a bomb. The more you do it, the less powerful it becomes. You're in charge of how you respond. Not that old memory. This is how you retrain your emotional reactions. So why is this crucial? Let's get real. This is important because most people spend their whole lives stuck in trauma responses, reacting the same way every time something happens. That means they're living out of fear, anxiety, or frustration. When you learn to break the loop and reframe those beliefs, you're setting yourself free. You're not living by default anymore, you're living by choice. You get to decide how you respond to life, not some old memory or belief system. Fear and resistance. Here's the kicker. Most people resist doing this because they're scared. What if people think I'm weird for trying to change? What if I'm not good enough? All these fears, they're just another part of the trauma response. So let's break this down for you. Who the hell cares what people think? You think they're sitting there judging every little thing you do? No. They're caught up in their own bullshit. Too busy to care. So stop worrying about how people see you. The only person whose opinion matters is yours. Interrupting the old patterns. Let's be real, people get stuck in the same patterns for years. Why? Because they never interrupt the loop. Here are some of the big ones. Procrastination. Always pushing stuff off because of the fear of perfectionism. This pattern is keeping you from success. Self-doubt. You keep second-guessing yourself because you're terrified of failure or judgment. People-pleasing. You're always saying yes when you should be saying no. You're not taking care of yourself. These patterns drain you. They hold you back from doing what you're truly capable of. They keep you stuck in survival mode rather than growth mode. Use this to lead others. Here's the cool part. Once you master this, you use it to help others. It's all about pacing and leading. Pace their current belief system. Show them you understand where they're at, and then lead them to a new belief that works better. The more you link their belief to your desired outcome, the more you reframe their thought process. This creates massive change in them, just like it did for you. Here's the truth. Your trauma response is not who you are. It's just a series of patterns that you've repeated, and the more you repeat them, the more they become automatic. But you can change this. It takes commitment, it takes courage, and most importantly, it takes realizing the only way you're going to grow is by interrupting that bullshit and choosing a different path. So stop waiting for the perfect moment. It's now or never. You have to interrupt the old ways and get comfortable with the new ones. Trust me, the more you do this, the easier it gets. And one day you'll wake up and realize you're no longer stuck.